Let's see if this works. Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information come from the smart device application Today in History, pardon me. What happened today in history?
Historical calendar.
And
the website onthisday.com.
For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar in the description below. Anyway, I am Xander.
I am Scott.
And today is Freya's Day, also known as Friday, the 2nd of September, 2022. So it's 9/2/2/2222. There's something like that.
Another day for today in history, rolling on and on, baby.
Yep. Keeping it going.
Yep.
So why don't you start? We have a really old one here.
Wow. 44 BC, Queen Cleopatra, the 7th of Egypt, declares her son Cicerone co-ruler of Ptolemy, the 15th of Caesar.
Yeah.
If I read that right.
Yeah, you did. Ptolemy, something like that. Because Ptolemy actually, because the Ptolemistic dynasty and all this stuff was actually put in there. Well, not put in there, but it manifested after Alexander the Great died because he had conquered that land, and he said, on his deathbed, my nation goes to the strongest. So that created a huge political divide. So all of his top, best generals, there's 5 of them. One got Greece, one got Egypt, one got, this other area, and stuff like that. And Ptolemy was one of Alexander the Great's generals, and he got, Egypt, hence the Ptolemaic dynasty.
Ah.
And I know all that from a video game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you really elaborated.
Yeah, I may be wrong, but that's from Europa Universalis, I think. It's from the same people, the Paradox, the same people who made Hearts of Iron 4, Stellaris, among other games. Europa Universalis or something like that. Yeah, it's basically you play as the ancient world, just after the death of Alexander the Great. So you can play as the Thracians and shit. I don't know. It was crazy. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry for eating into the time. I just pulled a major Alice right there.
Also 44 BC. The first of Cicero's Philippics oratorical attacks on Mark Antony. He will make 14 of them over the next several months.
Dang, so he's basically well, actually, let me look this up, because oratorical, it sounds like he's they're on the Senate having a hearing. The orator as attacker. Oh, Cicero's political personae. But what does this mean? What is oratorical speech? An oration is defined as a short narrative speech given for a specific audience or event. An oration can include formal speeches such as eulogies, graduation speeches, and inaugural addresses. However, an oratorical piece can also include short toasts at a wedding or retirement party. So essentially, he was using that that platform as an attack. So talking shit essentially.
Yeah.
So, man, that's rude.
That it is. I gotta learn more about this. This is definitely interesting stuff.
It is. Man, you're stuck in the BC, aren't you?
Guess so. Wait, did it go back?
No, BC goes from it's reverse. So it goes from greater to smaller because it's coming like negative numbers. -1, -2, -3, and then you go on the other side of the spectrum and it starts counting up instead of down.
Yeah, because BC, I forget, because AD is Anno Domini or something.
I thought AD stood for after death because BC is before Christ, although we have BCE before Common Era to get the religious aspect out of it, but still.
Yeah, that's what I normally know it as. I've seen it called Anno Domini, though, or something like that.
I think
But yeah,
that's the actual, yeah.
BC would be before Christ. Yeah. Okay. So,
Hmm.
31 BC, Battle of Actium, decisive naval battle that effectively ends the Roman Republic. Octavian's forces defeat those under Mark Antony and Cleopatra off the west coast of Greece.
Dang. So Mark
Pretty
Anthony.
significant day. Pretty
What?
significant day in history.
That is. Well, I mean, like, that's, that's 10, 11, 12, like 13 years. Yeah, 13 years to the day after Cicero started talking shit at him, at an oratorical. Then Octavian, then Mark Antony lost to Octavian,
Hmm.
and like that's and they were Roman. So Cicero and Mark Antony are both Roman. So Mark Antony lost to an outside force, ending the Roman Republic. So maybe that shit talk was justified.
So, does this have anything to do with ships being a naval battle?
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Just to clarify, if I'm reading this right, yeah. So, naval battle would be on the ocean with some ships.
Yes, like the Navy, boats, and everything.
Right.
Even though, like in the future, the like the UNSC, United Nations Space Command, and stuff like that, for the Halo universe at least, like that's still the Navy, even though they're in ships and everything. I mean, like Star Trek, that's still the Navy. Like they use fleets, and naval terminologies and everything. So they go from the water to space.
Yep.
Moving on up, finally getting out of BC and doing a pretty significant time jump here into 1192, Sultan Saladin and King Richard the Lionheart of England signed the treaty over Jerusalem at the end of the Third Crusade. Why does Saladin look like some kind of wizard?
Hold on. Sorry. Okay. Wow, that is some picture. Yeah, we got one with all the armor on and that really like.
The regal crown helmet thing.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
And then you have like Tim the Enchanter over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, dude, his hat looks like what Blackbeard did with his beard. Like he lit his beard on fire and stuff during battles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That must have smelled.
Yeah. Like what he did is like he dipped his beard in like candle wax or something, and then like rolled them. So like he had like this I don't know, repetitive pigtails of a beard, and then he lit them all on fire while like sword fighting and everything. So he had a flaming head. It was crazy.
It's like a beard torch.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Moving on up into 1537, King Christian III published Ordinance on the Danish Church. That doesn't sound good.
What was that ordinance?
I don't know. That sounds military.
Yeah.
So maybe a cannon. Why is there a cannon on a church? Then 1666, the Great Fire of London began at 2 in the morning in Pudding Lane. Pudding Lane? 80% of London was destroyed. Eesh.
Damn, look at that
Lord.
picture.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, they didn't have probably like firefighters back then, so I don't know what they were gonna do.
And back then, everything was also like wood and all that stuff, so.
Yeah.
And this was before, like, like not just firefighters, but like, building codes, regulations, everything. Like, it's things like this that created all this.
I really hope that wasn't caused by like a lit cigarette or something, because that would be.
Let's see. How did the 1666 London fire start? Here we go. It started in a baker's shop in Pudding Lane after midnight, just down the road from London Bridge. So the fire started there in the bakery.
And basically burn the whole city down.
Let's see here.
80% of London, so that one bakery fire just burned the whole place.
Yeah, it's just saying, how did it begin? Like, death toll, damage, who was to blame? French watchmaker Robert Hubert confessed to starting the blaze and was hanged on October 27, 1666. Years later, it was revealed that he was at sea when... What?
Was that his fault because they hung him for that? And it's like, was that an accident or?
Well, no. Like years later, it was revealed he was at sea when the fire began and could not have been responsible.
Gosh.
So, yeah.
And what? Look, it says an artist painted that. What did he just sit there the whole time and just paint that whole fire?
Probably not live, but like maybe like out of memory and everything. But like right here it says, however, it was most likely a spark from Thomas Farrier's oven which sparked the blaze. So the baker, just a negligent baker. Jeez.
That is crazy.
It is. And I believe it's your turn now.
1666. Of course, it has those 3 numbers involved with a fire of all
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I was gonna say something earlier. I'm like, oh look, the number of the beast.
Right.
And then there's literal
Right.
hell on earth right there. So.
So it says here, Gregory conquers Julius Caesar, 1752. Last Julian calendar day in Great Britain and British colonies including America, to sync to the Gregorian calendar. 11 days are skipped, and the next date is September 14th. So I think we go by the Gregorian calendar.
No, we go by the Gregorian calendar. It used to be the Julian, as it says right here. And actually, like the Y files, I think we watched this. I think this was like the first episode of the Y files I actually saw. Was like there's a whole conspiracy about like the whole thing about the Dark Ages not even existing, in order to create a whole fictitious timeline to prop up the validity of the Vatican and all that stuff. It's a whole thing.
It almost made me think of like the Dark Ages, because didn't they do like candle watts for light energy before there was a light bulb?
Yeah, they're doing candle power. We read something not too long ago. It was like 100 some odd thousand candle power, and then that's why we went to like watts and such, because like, candle power is such a small power that you're going to need a large number to explain something like a light bulb today. So just switch the numbers to make it smaller, essentially.
Exactly.
It's a nerf.
Yep.
They nerfed it.
Yeah, it became obsolete.
Yep. You have another one here in 1792.
So, the French Revolution, 1792, September massacres of the French Revolution in Paris. Rampaging mobs slaughter 3 Roman Catholic bishops, more than 200 priests, and prisoners believed to be royalist sympathizers. Ouch.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Is it just me, or like is this guy's hair like trying to escape his head?
Was that all religious related? Like
yes.
they just took out all these people.
No, this is all religious related. Like they were getting rid of the Catholics because I think they had their own religion or something, so they were trying to get rid of like the Catholic oppressors, the Catholic colonizers. So they killed 3 Roman Catholic bishops, over 200 priests, and then royalist sympathizers, so people like loyal to the crown and all that stuff. Who the crown during this time was not in a good position. So.
I feel like that kind of happens nowadays, except they can't just go out and kill everybody. It's like.
Yeah, no, they just go out and cancel them and deplatform them and smear them all over the internet and make them a pariah.
Exactly.
Which is a fate worse than death. When they kill you, that's it, done. Over with. But they do all this stuff, and this is shit that you just gotta live with. So.
Yep.
Sucks.
History is repeating itself in a different format.
In a worse way.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Anyway, you have another one here. Speaking of French.
I don't know why I thought, but it also says in 1796, Jews of the Netherlands are emancipated.
Huh.
So, emancipating mean they were kind of free?
Well, what is the definition of emancipation? Well, actually,
because that's like something that I know of a younger person can emancipate themselves from their parents before they're 18. If you know what I'm saying.
Put this link in the underbar real quick. There you go. And then let's see here. In 1796 and 1834, the Netherlands granted the Jews equal rights with Gentiles. Napoleon freed the Jews in areas he conquered in Europe outside France. Greece granted equal rights to Jews in 1830. So this is
Well,
like equal rights. So like this is not emancipation like the alleviation of slavery, but like kind of akin to what you're saying. They can emancipate themselves from their parents. That means that they can become independent. So
right.
they can be recognized as an independent adult rather than a child living under the care of a parent or a caretaker or something.
Lucky for Napoleon.
Yeah, Napoleon. No, like Napoleon was awesome. Like he did so much good and such. Because that's why everybody hated him, because like he was a beacon of hope and prosperity to the rest of Europe, and he did things that all the other world leaders in that area either would not or could not do.
Yeah.
Because Napoleon had the power of the people. The people are the power. Always. They always have been. They always will be. No matter what time period, no matter what government, if you're living under a king, under an emperor, under a fascist, under a president, no matter what, the people are always the power.
True.
And he had the people. So
He did. So
yeah.
that's why he's remembered so much. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So if I have three, right? I'll
Yes.
do my second. I'll do the second one just quick for 1798 because I thought this was interesting. So it's
Okay.
the first bank robbery in the U.S. Bank of Pennsylvania robbed for $162,821 at Carpenter's Hall, Philadelphia. The first
wow.
bank robbery, ever.
All right. Let's see here. 1798. So 1798. Let's see how much money this is. 1798 20. So 162,000 would be $3,902,171.71 today.
Yeah.
Man.
So they cleaned that bank out.
Yeah.
That's something. Wow. In 1798, I'm surprised that that's the first recorded robbery. I'm sure others happened, but that was the first,
Recorded
significant one. Yeah, significant one, yeah.
Well, not just significant, it's just first bank robbery, so that's the first one they actually have on record. There could have been other ones, as you said, but they're not on record. So they're just hearsay. So yeah. That is interesting. Good call. Good to see.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I had to read that one. All right, so the third and last, okay, so we got Napoleon again. So the Royal Navy bombards Copenhagen with firebombs and phosphorus rockets to prevent Denmark from surrendering its fleet to Napoleon.
Huh.
Wow, in 1807, I wonder how they made phosphorus rockets. That's, wow.
Well, they had guns back then, as far back as the 1500s. Maybe even...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, 1400s, didn't they have guns, they had guns during Christopher Columbus's time, 1400s, 1492.
Yeah, because they essentially used firebombs and phosphorus rockets to prevent them from surrendering. So that was like their ultimate trump card.
Yeah, that was the Royal Navy, so that was England, and Napoleon is French, and we all know how much they just loved each other throughout the times of history. They didn't, by the way, if people don't understand sarcasm. But yeah, no, like they were willing to burn Denmark's fleet to the ocean floor to prevent Napoleon from getting anything like that, because the Great Britain all the way up until World War II was like the king of the seas, and they didn't want France to contest that, even if that means they had to destroy their allies' property. So that's how crazy Napoleon. The whole thing about him, because like as I said before, like it's been said many times, the countries of Europe didn't declare war on France. They declared war on Napoleon. They were going after him specifically. They didn't care about France. They went after him. That's how big he was.
He was such a powerful figure.
Yeah.
And they were backing him up. His army was they must have just been good anyway, the army that was fighting with him.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on up into 1864. Union General William T. Sherman captured and burned Atlanta during Savannah Campaign during the U.S. Civil War. So Atlanta, Georgia, gone. Yep.
Captures and burns.
Yep. So, like, Atlanta,
Well,
think is the capital of Georgia.
what I know about the Civil War is just how brutal it was and just what those soldiers had to go through during that. And that's 1864, so that's like, Lincoln's time, right? Just about.
Yeah, no, Lincoln was the president during, like, before, during, and after the conflict. And, because, keep in mind, this was before, like, the presidential term limit was 2. Although I don't think, how many terms did Lincoln serve? Let's see here. How many terms did Lincoln serve? Well, I guess just one. He served from March 4th, 1861 through April 15th, 1865. And during...
So, yep, that was definitely Lincoln's time then, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, actually, he died 42 days into his second term after his assassination. So he was serving a second term.
So if we have the Union and the Confederacy, how does a president stand behind that? Like, what was Lincoln for?
Well, Lincoln was the president of the Union. The Confederacy seceded, and they elected Jefferson Davis as their own president.
Gotcha.
So they were no longer part of the U.S. That was the whole problem. Like, they split off. They did to us what we did to England, back in 1776. And we wouldn't have it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I feel like that sort of shouldn't fall on the wayside in history, just the Union, the Confederacy, and then how that went. That's just so significant to me.
Dude, it was literally brother versus brother, like, and I mean literally, like, families were split, and they fought each other, they killed each other, like, it was fight or die, and that's why the times we're living today, are so precarious, because
I see the similarities. I do. I see the similarities.
Yeah, I mean, like look at my own family. Like, half of my family doesn't like me because I don't support one side, and the other half doesn't like me because I don't support the other side. I don't support either side, and because of that, like it's so much divisiveness because I'm not agreeing with them. Therefore, I'm an enemy. It doesn't matter what side,
Yeah.
It's just madness.
It's scary.
Yeah. Anyway, 1870, Napoleon III surrenders to Prussian armies at the Battle of Sedan. Yeah.
Napoleon III.
Yep. Not Napoleon Bonaparte, but it was his grandson or great-grandson or something. So he was related down the lineage. And this is 1870. Yeah. Like, the Napoleonic Wars were like 1800s, 1810, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see here. And then moving on up into 1898, the Battle of Omdurman, Lord Kitchener retook Sudan for Britain. Okay, well, so we have Sudan. That's Sudan, and this is Sudan. Okay, so one's a country, the other's a car. Huh. Your turn, Scott.
Sudanese, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh, this one.
In 1901, Theodore Roosevelt advises speak softly and carry a big stick. Wow, can we look that up?
I have a back scratcher. This can do some damage.
Well, I don't know. You want to look that one up? Advises speak softly and carry a big stick. So that's like talk quietly and carry a weapon just in case something happens. I don't know.
Well, no, essentially, politically, that means don't boast. Don't be essentially China's oh, look at us, we're the greatest. China #1. Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, they have the largest army in the world, but well, until recently they didn't have the technological level to compare to us. But things are changing. It's the whole thing about be modest, but have the ability to back up, what you say if somebody tries to step on you,
Ah, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, essentially, if you look at the way U.S., once again, up until recently has done politics, we aren't, that aggressive, at least on the surface, we are more of an open, nation, at least on the surface and everything. But behind our back, we have some stuff that can seriously fuck up anybody who crosses us the wrong way. So,
True.
So that's the thing. Speak softly and carry a big stick. So
Got it.
that's what it means.
Wow, look at this one in 1902.
Huh. Ooh. Take it.
All right, so 1902, A Trip to the Moon, the first sci-fi film, was released.
Cool.
That is pretty cool. They must have like really been wanting to go there, you know, because what did it take? Another like 60 years or so before we actually took a trip to the moon. So
67 to be precise, if we landed in 69, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember this. I've seen this. It's a silent movie, of course, but like they basically like fire themselves out of a cannon in a missile-shaped space pod, and it like hits the moon in the eye. Like yeah, like it's just some guy like with like in like a pie dish full of whipped cream, and that represents the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like imagine this back in 1902 when everybody, you can see the moon at night and everybody's like, thinking about it, and then the actual the title of that movie is A Trip to the Moon. I feel like that would really sell. Like people
Oh
would want
yeah,
to see that.
definitely. Oh dude, the moon. Like the moon has been part of human fascination as long as humans have existed. Like a big old thing up in the sky. Like what is it? Like eventually we get technology like telescopes and everything. We start seeing start understanding about the universe is more than just this planet. We have a whole solar system. It's something else out in space like Earth, but smaller and different. So like what's it like to be on there? Like it just builds up. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the first sci-fi film. So that's like, that's just
Yeah.
It can only go farther from there.
Yeah, that's the start of the genre, science fiction.
Right.
Beloved by hundreds of millions, perhaps billions. I have no idea. Like, people love sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, what's sci-fi nowadays? You can just turn on the news and that's sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like, because of how just obscure everything is.
Yeah. We live in an Orwellian nightmare,
Right, that's just my point. But, if you're thinking about that back in 1902, like, they were probably just mesmerized by that. And just seeing some sci-fi film called A Trip to the Moon, I would jump to that.
Keep in mind, this is before flight.
Exactly.
Yeah, they had layer travel like dirigibles and balloons and stuff, but this was before the Wright brothers, before the concept of anything about space travel and everything. In the movie, like as I said, they literally used a cannon, an artillery piece, and shot themselves into the moon.
Man, that would have to be a powerful cannon to get by the atmosphere.
Yeah, well, people didn't know about atmosphere back then. The common people didn't, at least, Like.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's start picking it up here. It's already 32 minutes in. We're just hitting 1900s.
1909, King Edward VII signed South Africa Act.
South Africa Acts. Let me look that up here real quick.
Wow, 1909, that's the first Abraham Lincoln penny.
Ooh. The South Africa Act of 1909 was an act of the British Parliament which created the Union of South Africa from the British colonies of the Cape of Good Hope, Natal, Orange River Colony, and Transvaal. So it created South Africa. Happy birthday, South Africa.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's where our favorite African American, comes from. He launched a sports car into space a couple years ago.
Elon.
Yep. Who's whiter than flour. And let's see. Take 1931 here.
Alrighty. 1931, Bing Crosby makes his solo radio debut.
Ooh, I've heard that name, Bing Crosby. Dad would probably know a lot more. But
probably.
Yeah. Moving on up into 1937, the film The Prisoner of Zenda, based on the novel and play by Anthony Hope, starring Ronald Colman, Madeline Carroll, and Douglas Fairbanks Jr., was released.
Someone's here.
It is the Sohead.
Ah.
1940 PGA Championship Men's Golf, Hershey Country Club. Byron Nelson won his first PGA Championship, defeating Sam Snead, one up by the in the Monday 36-hole final.
Wow, Sam Snead, he was very popular.
His picture even looks like he's disappointed that he lost.
And we got some of the 40s I was going to say, because 42, the German troops enter Stalingrad.
Ah.
So that seemed to stick out to me.
Let's see here. When was the Battle of Stalingrad? Yo, Sohen, is your phone right next to a speaker? I'm hearing a hum constantly here.
Yeah, I hear it too.
The Battle of Stalingrad was from July 17th, 1942 through February 2nd, 1943. So, yeah, this is during it. This is not the start of it at all, but yeah. So this is when they're actually like in city limits. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know if you're still looking up that, but there's one in 1944 really fast if you want to read it, or I'll read it. I'm just curious about this one if you want, after we get by the Stalingrad
You're talking
one.
about the George Bush one?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1944, future U.S. President George Herbert Walker Bush bailed from a burning plane during a mission in the Pacific. Yeah, I believe that's true, because I believe FDR, not FDR, Kennedy, wasn't he also pilot? Wasn't there also one of our presidents was on on that sinking ship or involved in that sinking ship?
Yeah, I think so. And did they was he captured, or did they save him? I forget.
I don't remember. Was George H.W. Bush a POW? Was George H.W. Bush a POW? Let's see here. What did George Bush... Okay, let's see here. Did the Japanese eat POWs in World War II? What? Why is that a question?
Yes, believe it or not, that's true.
I believe it. I was just wondering why that's a question when I'm looking up something involving our former president.
Right.
Then again, I was asking about POWs, so yeah. But yeah, his squadron was attacked by Japanese anti-aircraft guns. He was forced to bail out over the ocean. His squadron was conducting a bombing mission on a Japanese installation on one of the islands. Two of the crew members died during the attack. Okay, so after floating on a raft for 4 hours, the submarine crew fished a safe but exhausted Bush out of the water. So he got picked up.
Yeah.
All right, so that answers that question.
All right, so we can move on. But I thought that was pretty interesting. How about you, Xander?
That was.
Definitely.
I knew about it. I just didn't know that was today. It's good that you have your eyes peeled on this. I'm just focused on the highlighted ones, but I've been trying to pay more attention to the non-highlighted ones, a little bit more recently.
Yeah, it's just I pick and choose ones that just stand out to me. I know we're on a time thing, but if there's something that really catches my eye, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Anyway, 1945, Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam independent from France. This is a national day. Because, as I said before, France at this time, in 1945,
that's South Vietnam.
No, he's from North Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh.
Oh.
No. Well, France used to own Vietnam, but no, this is after France was liberated. But during World War II, France as a nation didn't exist. So, why should their colonies, behave? So that's what
the only reason I say this is because there's some Vietnam medals with actually Ho Chi Minh's name on it.
Well, yeah, like South Vietnam medals from the war.
Right.
Huh. Well, I know Ho Chi Minh was north because the Viet Cong, the guerrilla fighters, they went into Cambodia along the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Oh, right.
So, I
believe you. I do. I mean, it would take too much time to look all this up, but I mean, that's just that name, Ho Chi Minh, that stood out to me.
Well, he was president of Vietnam He was the first president of Vietnam. You know, like right here is declaring Vietnam independent from France. Um, but like, you know what? Like the only reason I can think of is because Vietnam was just one nation, and then there was like a split or something, and the U.S. got France was trying to reassert their dominance over Vietnam, and then they kept getting kicked to the curb, and then we got involved in everything. And actually, the first U.S. casualty was like some sergeant or whatever who thought it would be a good idea to yell at the North Vietnamese, the NVA, the North Vietnamese Army,
Yeah.
in French. It's like, what the fuck
Wow.
do you think is going to happen? So
Yeah.
yeah, so
I see that.
yeah, but yeah, the first U.S. death, casualty, and KIA was from a U.S. citizen being an idiot. What a surprise!
Yeah.
I see Sohan on camera. Mr. Sohan, do you want to take us up on the second 1945?
BJ Day.
Yes.
BJ Day.
Victory in Japan.
Okay. 1945 BJ Day. Formal surrender of Japanese aboard USS Missouri marks the end of World War II. Japanese State, September 1st in the U.S.
All right. Yep. So this is the official end of the Second World War, which is kind of funny because very much like the First World War, which started and ended on the same exact calendar date, but just 4 years apart or something like that. World War II started in September 1st, 1939, and then right here, September 1st, 1945. So 6 years, same date. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Also, 1946, American golfer Ben Hogan wins the Golden State Open at California Country Club in Los Angeles. His third consecutive PGA event and 11th title of the season. Second time that year, he wins 3 straight tournaments.
Dang. So second time that year. So he's won 6 tournaments now. That's incredible.
In 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru forms government in India.
Wow.
Jawaharlal.
Yep. Not as cool of a name though as Kanan Banana, who was the first president of Zimbabwe. But this guy was the first prime minister of India. Mr. Scott, your turn.
1949. The Third Man, directed by Carol Reed, starring Joseph Cotton, Alida Valli, and Orson Welles, is released in the UK for Academy Awards Best Cinematography of 1950.
Nice.
Wow. That's probably a young Orson Welles.
Yeah, Orson Welles. Let's see, when was he born? He was born in 1915. So 1949, he was like 20 something, 30, somewhere in there. What's 49 minus 15? Let's see. 49 minus 15 equals 34. So wow, he was younger than me.
Ha!
I'm a loser. You still have a chance though, Scott. You still have a chance.
I still have a chance.
Yeah, to be as big as him by his age,
Maybe, hopefully, possibly.
You have 5 years.
Yeah. Alright, well, I'll hope for the best. 1959, U.S. President Eisenhower arrives in Paris.
Nice.
To do what?
Probably political things.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting, though, because Eisenhower, he was the supreme commander over all Allied forces in World War II. So this would be like... I wonder if this is like the first time he's been in Paris since wartime,
Probably. That's probably why they say he arrived in Paris. They didn't say he arrived in Paris for the second time. Or it was probably the first time.
Yeah. That's something interesting to look up. If we had the time.
Yeah, we're getting 45 minutes in, so...
Yep. You have another one here. Baseball, look at that.
1962, St. Louis first baseman Stan Musial's records hit... St. Louis first baseman Stan Musial's records His 3,416th hit in Cards' 4-3 loss versus New York Mets overtakes Tris Speaker into second place behind Ty Cobb on the MLB all-time list,
Nice.
making his way up into the Hall of Fame.
Making my way
Records.
downtown, walking back.
Yeah, but like I said, 3,516th hit. That's
That's a lot of
that's
hits.
serious stuff. Yeah, that's serious stuff.
Yeah. You have another one, right?
Yeah, one more. So, 1963, Alabama Governor George Wallace prevents integration of Tuskegee High School.
Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, he's a segregationalist, so he wanted to keep the blacks and whites separate. So that's why he prevented the integration.
Got it.
Alabama. I know someone in Alabama.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I don't know.
Or wait, no, never mind. I got Alabama and Louisiana confused.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I get Wisconsin and Minneapolis or Minnesota confused. So I'm just stupid.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me. I'm just an idiot. Mr. Sohan, what happened in 1965?
1965, Cubs slugger Ernie Banks hits his MLB 400th career home run off Kurt Simmons in Chicago 5-3 win versus St. Louis at Wrigley Field. Simmons also gave up Willie Mays' 400th home run in 1963.
Dang.
Pretty cool day for baseball then.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Ooh, it's another good one. 1966, Joe Auger returns the opening kickoff 95 yards for a Miami touchdown in the Dolphins' first ever NFL regular season game. Oakland Raiders go on to win 23-14 at the Orange Bowl before 26,776 fans.
Dang.
NFL coach and sportscaster John Madden.
Hey.
You coach.
Football!
And of course, John Madden, they made a lot of video games after him. All the NFL games for a while were Madden.
Yeah, Madden this, Madden that. And very much like the FIFA games, it's the same game just with slightly more polished graphics, slightly better thing. It's like the video game version of the iPhone, you know? It's the same
Kind
shit.
of. Yeah.
You know, here we go. Mr. Sohan?
(1976).
68.
I was gonna read the Principality of Sealand is established.
Ah,
Well, 1976, the Principality of Sealand is established. Ruled by Prince Patty Royal Bates.
I remember that. I think that's the one where they went onto a decommissioned offshore oil platform, and because it was like an international water, no, it was in, I think it was in territorial waters, but they still established it as a nation. And I think at one point they even they even went to the UN seeking to be viewed as a sovereign state because they're out there doing like a whole bunch of illegal things. And then I think it was France or Italy, I don't know. I think it was somewhere in Europe, but like the government went in there, shut it down, used military force, and then demolished the structure. So that happened way back in '67. That's pretty crazy.
Damn.
Then you have a 68 here.
In 1968, Jerry Lewis' third muscular dystrophy telethon.
Dang. I wonder how many, Jerry Lewis, how many telethons did he do?
He did a lot.
Jerry Lewis. Let's see here. Telethon was held annually on Labor Day weekend beginning in 1966 and raised $2.45 billion for MDA from its inception through 2009. Wow. $2.45 billion raised. That is incredible. Anyway, I'm going to do the split here. Let's see. Split. Hello and welcome to part 2. We are moving up into 1971, in which the teenage debutants Chris Evert and Jimmy Connors won their first matches at the U.S. Open Tennis Championships at Forest Hills. So dang. Teens and championships and such, you know. What a time. We don't hear things about that anymore, you know.
Yo,
Not really.
picture.
What's up?
It's supposed to be men's tennis. Look at the picture.
Chris Evert.
Can
it's not.
we do the?
It's not. Oh, well, that's right. U.S. Men's Tennis Open. That's weird. Huh. But this just says teenage debuts Chris Evert and Jimmy Connors.
I was gonna say also one of these 1972s caught my eye.
Which one?
The first time. It says for the first time since the advent of the modern Olympics.
1972, for the first time since the advent of the modern Olympics in 1896, a non-American won the pole vault gold medal. East German Wolfgang Nordwig cleared 5.5 meters at the Munich Games. Huh.
Okay, he's now Christine Evert now.
I was thinking, like, did he get a sex change? You know, like, so he did. So that explains that. And that is interesting. So since 1896, the U.S. has had a domination on the pole vault until 1972. So that's roughly 80 years.
Yeah, 80 plus years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, at least he's not trying to go against women.
True that. 1972, Rod Stewart's first #1 hit single in the UK, "You Wear It Well." All right. And just so happened, we have a baseball one here, and it's Scott's turn. What a coincidence.
Cool. 1973, Billy Martin is fired as Detroit Tigers manager due to continual differences with the front office. Goes on to manage Texas, Oakland, and New York Yankees in 5 separate stints. Yeah, he was very popular.
Is this the same guy who gambled? Or is that somebody else?
Not entirely sure. It could be.
Wait, who is the one though who's barred from everything?
That's Pete Rose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like it.
Then you have a PGA here.
1974, PGA Tournament Players Championship, Atlanta Country Club. Jack Nicklaus wins inaugural event, first of his 3 TPC titles, 2 strokes ahead of runner-up J.C. Snead.
Cool. Then 74 as well.
1974, U.S. President Gerald Ford signs Employee Retirement Income Security Act.
What is that? Let me look that up here. Let's see here. The Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974 is a U.S. federal tax and labor law that established minimum standards for pension plans in private industry. It contains rules on the federal income tax effects of transactions associated with employee benefit plans. All right, I vaguely kind of understand that, but all I got was political jargon.
1977 sports history is pretty crazy.
Go for it.
So, 1977, one of the great anticlimaxes in sport, 43-year-old transsexual Renee Richards, who fought for over a year for right to play in the major event, is beaten 6-1 and 6-4 by Wimbledon champion Virginia Wade at the U.S. Open.
I mean, yeah, people are probably going to laugh that she got defeated, but hey, she got her chance, and that's what she wanted. So,
right.
I applaud that. So
compared to what's happening now.
Yeah, now it's just ridiculous. So, anyway, Mr. Sohan.
Yeah,
Mr.
1970,
October.
1978, Yankees right fielder Reggie Jackson hits his 20th home run of the season in a 6-2 home win over Seattle. 19th MLB player to hit 20 home runs in 11 straight years.
Dang.
Yep. There's Mr. October again.
Yup. Red October standing by.
Also, 1980, Australian cricket batsman Kim Hughes becomes third player to bat on all 5 days of a test match as the rain affected sanitary tests Peters out to a draw at Lord's British broadcast station.
Yeah, British Broadcasting Company.
John Arlott calls his final match.
Yeah.
Dang, my brain ain't corrupted because I was thinking something else.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're thinking of, and I was just gonna say that that company really should probably change their name. It's unfortunate that they got that that series of letters first, but society is starting to dictate things in a bad way involving that abbreviation. So, yeah.
Well, BBC also has something else worse with it.
Like, do you want to DM it to
Jimmy
me?
Savile.
What?
Like Jimmy Savile. He was involved with the BBC.
I only know two versions of that, so like, if it's not the
I'll tell you later.
yeah.
Okay, 1981, Soviet Union performs underground nuclear test.
Ah. Here we go again
Ooh,
with the nukes.
Damn, 1982, Rolling Stones Keith Richards' house burns down.
Well, that's not good.
Damn.
He rocked way too hard. But hey, a Rolling Stone gathers no moss.
Yeah, Captain Teague's house burned it burned down.
Yeah. That sucks. Why don't you take 83 here?
Sure. Also in 1983, Yitzhak Shamir Irkid Party endorsed by Mirzimin Bean for Israeli Prime Minister.
Ah. So this guy, he was endorsed by that guy for the position. So that's interesting. 1987, Donald Trump took out a full-page New York Times ad lambasting Japan. Oh my God! Wow.
What does that mean? Lambasting. What does that mean?
Basically talking shit. Like, yeah, lambasting. Let me look up the actual definition. A harsh criticism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he took out an entire page in the New York Times.
A full page, yeah. A full page.
Wow. Man, this guy has been at it since before I knew. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
before, New York Times started doing the same thing about him.
Yeah. Now it's reversed.
Basically, since you were born.
Yep. 1989, Reverend Al Sharpton led a civil rights march through Bensonhurst, Brooklyn.
FBI snitch.
Yeah. I knew the name Al Sharpton, and I thought it was, like, for a negative reason. And it was for that, right? Sohan? He was like an FBI informant or something?
One of them.
Yeah. 1991, Ropin' the Wind, the third studio album by Garth Brooks, was released, later to receive the Billboard Album of the Year in 1992. That's pretty cool. Then Scott has a really cool one. That's an amazing picture right there.
For 1993, but I was going to say this one in 1992. It says a U.S. dollar valued at 156.50 guilder, a record.
What's a guilder? A gold? Like...
Not sure.
Guilder. The basic monetary unit of the Netherlands until the introduction of the euro, equal to 100 cents. Historical, a gold or silver coin formerly used in the Netherlands, Germany, and Austria. So, for whatever reason, it's the U.S. dollar was worth like $156.50 in Netherlands money. It looks like. Wow.
Ooh.
That's. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading that wrong, but like. I don't know.
Still, well, it was a record at the time. So.
Yeah. Well, that would mean that the Netherlands were in a horrible recession. Let me look this up. Was Netherlands in a recession in the 90s? The economic dip in the early 90s. Once the spending impulse of the reunification had petered out in mid-1992, Germany also went into a delayed recession. In the Netherlands, ... So, where'd that... Economic growth, Netherlands, Germany, and U.S. So for whatever reason, there's a significance between the economic growth of the U.S., Germany, and the Netherlands in specifics. Like, I don't understand why, although I'm not an economist, so... But I'm going to add this link in the underbar for any, because this is interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
This is weird. Like, of all places, you know, like United States, I get it, but Germany and then the Netherlands, like, you know, it's weird to compare those three. They're all different vastly. So, I'm trying to find where it petered off though in the Netherlands. Let's see here. Well, I'm not going to continue reading this. I'm just going to keep that tab open. But that's interesting. Anyway, yeah, Scott, go ahead.
Also, 1993, Central African Republic ex-emperor Jean Bedel Bokassa freed.
Ah, so it sounds like they had their former emperor like in prison, so like a revolt or something.
Also, 1994, Spanish road cyclist Miguel Indurain sets UCI hour world record distance of 53.04 kilometers in Bordeaux, France.
Yeah. Someone gets a boxing one here.
Oh, good.
Boxer?
In 1995, British boxer Frank Bruno beats American champion Oliver McCall in a unanimous 12-round point decision in London for the WBC heavyweight title.
Ah. What does WBC even stand for? WBC.
Maybe welterweight? I forget.
Let's see here.
I don't know.
World Boxing Council.
Okay.
And you have two more here, Sohan.
Let's see. Let me go down here. 95.
Oh, I'm going to jump in here real quick. 1995, Southern California began using the new area code 562.
Huh, why is that?
Well, because of population. And actually, out here in Orange County, because of population, we actually, I remember this was like 20 years ago or so. It was not too long ago, but a decent amount of time ago. We split area codes. Well, not area code, but it's zip codes.
Yeah.
So like in areas that used to have the same zip code as me, now they're different by one number. It was pretty wild. So.
You know, I apologize, but look, in 1996, we have another Jerry Lewis muscular dystrophy televised.
Oh, how much did it raise?
Again, another one.
How much did it raise?
49,200,000.
Damn. That's a lot of money. God, Jesus.
It is.
Yeah.
Also, in 1996, Museum of Contemporary Art of Niterói, Mech, designed by Oscar Niemeyer, inaugurated in Niterói, Brazil.
Ah.
Oscar Niemeyer, kind of like the
Yes.
other company, but
Also in I'm gonna do these two 98s. In
Go for it.
1998, Swiss Air Flight 111 crashes near Peggy's Cove, Nova Scotia. All 229 passengers on board are killed.
Not just passengers, people, the crew included.
Well, people, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that sucks.
yep.
Also in 1998, the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda finds Jean-Paul Akiesi, the former mayor of a small town in Rwanda, guilty of 9 counts of genocide.
Holy crap! Oh my god.
9 counts.
Of genocide.
Gosh.
Woo! That guy is fucked. Wow.
I'll say.
Well, going from
Wow.
insanity, well, from one insanity form to another, 365 days later, in 1999, Being John Malkovich premiered, directed by Spike Jonze, starring John Cusack and Cameron Diaz.
The bad guy himself, John Malkovich.
Yep. It's my head, Schwartz.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you in court. Like, what the? Oh my god. Moving on up into 2001, German Ferrari driver Michael Schumacher won the Belgian Grand Prix at Circus de Spa-Francorchamps for his record 52nd F1 Grand Prix victory. Nice. 52nd. A lot of victories right there. Oh, and I see a golden lion, but I'm going to ignore the golden lion. 2015, U.S. President Barack Obama became the first president to visit the Arctic Circle at Kotzebue, Alaska. Well, that's interesting.
Hey, you missed another one.
Another one?
2015, Earth's
why
tree.
did you visit there? But okay.
2015, Earth's trees number over 3 trillion, according to study in Nature by Thomas Crowther of Yale University.
Dang, that's a lot of trees.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. What's the tree population today? Earth's tree population 2022. How many trees are in the world right now? Let's see here. As it loads. Let's see here. I'll just, here we go. 7 billion. Wait, that doesn't sound right.
So it's going up.
No, that's billion, not trillion.
Well, then it's going down.
Yeah, that's alarming. No, that's not right. It says here, it's at 3.04 trillion trees. 422 trees for every person on the planet. So 7 billion trees is not the right number. They think they mean humans, but there's still over 3 trillion trees, so that's good. It hasn't gone down. If you go from trillion to, you know, single-digit billions, that's a massive reduction. Like,
Well, they always chopping down trees to do shit with, you know.
yeah, but like, you know, think about it. 1 trillion is 1,000 billion. So that's like that's almost 3,000 billion trees gone. But that number's not right. So
Also, thank the Amazon for burning.
that too. Yeah. Whose turn was it?
I don't know, but I think we're up to 2019.
We are at 2019. Scott, why don't you just... Actually, I'll just finish this off here, and then you can start on first. 2019, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson threatened a snap general election if rebel MPs passed a bill against no-deal Brexit. Well, that's a fascist move right there.
Okay. Oh, 2021, at least 43 people died as the remnants of Hurricane Ida hits the U.S. Northeast with record rains, tornadoes, and flooding, with New York and New Jersey declaring state of emergency.
Weren't we talking with Ghost? Like he was talking about Ida the other day, right? And Scott, you were there.
I think that was Irma.
Hold on a second. You just went low, so let me move you real quick. Hold on. Nope. All right. Testing, testing.
So I think that was Irma.
Irma. Okay.
Ida actually hit my area. We got like close to 9 inches of rain.
Yeah. Okay. So it was you that we were talking about, Ida. 'Cause I remember
Yeah, and it
Ida. I
hit
Yeah.
remember
my area
Irma.
too. Got hit with the winds.
Yeah. And then Alice was talking about it too, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, if there's any articles that grabbed anybody watching, any of their attention, anything, is there anything that you guys like more than most, that we didn't elaborate on or whatnot?
Um, well, I don't know. We elaborated on a lot. I mean, I guess I'll just start with the 1666 Great Fire of London.
Yeah, with a coincidental number of the beast right there.
Right, with 80% of London destroyed.
Yeah.
So I'll start with that one, I guess,
Well, there's also the creation of South Africa. There's also the official end of World War II with Victory in Japan Day. You know.
Yep.
The last Julian calendar day. This is the last day before we transitioned, and it jumped 11 days. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we handled it. We covered it.
Yeah. What about you, Soen? Anything grab your attention?
Yeah, but too many to say.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, any viewers, if there's anything that grabbed your attention you want to elaborate on or start a convo or anything about, comment section below. It's right there. Anyway, Mr. Scott, do you want to start us off in bursts, 1243?
Okay. 1243. Gilbert de Clare, 7th Earl of Hertford, English politician. So, died in 1295.
Ah. All right.
Just a politician, I guess, from way back when.
A random ass politician. Here's an interesting one in 1766, if you want that.
Oh yeah, that's a good year.
But yeah, it is.
Yep. 1776 or 66?
66.
Okay, so my bad.
Yeah.
1766, James Forten, African-American abolitionist and businessman, who used his wealth to push for civil rights and the abolition of slavery, born in Philadelphia, province of Pennsylvania, British America, died in 1842.
Yeah, this was before we became a nation. He was pushing that back when we were still colonies. So
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Mr. Sohen.
1877, probably.
Yep. Unless there's one beforehand he sees.
1850, A.G. Spalding, American Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher, manager, and executive. NL Wins leader. 1871 to 1876, president, co-owner, Chicago White Stockings, co-founder of Sporting Goods Company, born in Byron, Illinois, died 1950.
That actually is significant because Spalding is still used nowadays.
It is.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
That is pretty cool right there.
He's the founder of it. He's co-founder.
The Chicago White Stockings.
Instead of the stock.
Yeah.
I'm glad he changed it to White Sox.
Well, yeah, nobody wears stockings anymore. But yeah, that's cool.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uno más, Senor Sohen.
Also, 1877, Frederick Soddy, English chemist, Nobel laureate, born in Eastbourne, Sussex, died 1956.
That's weird. They put his death twice in there, so it looks like
That
somebody came in.
Did.
Yeah, it looks like somebody came in and put in an additional information without, omitting the previous death. That's weird. Yeah. Anyway,
Yep.
Moving on up into scrolling.
Trolling.
1936, we have Andrew Grove, or Andras Grove, Hungarian-American pioneer in the semiconductor industry, one of the founders and CEO of Intel, and a philanthropist, born in Budapest, Hungary, dying in 2016. It's 1958, 06, 08.
Inside.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's strange. Yeah, I think our source is starting to break down, because remember yesterday there was like a whole HTML code in something?
Yeah.
That was weird. And I think that's now Scott's turn.
1937, Peter Ueberroth, American organizer of the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics and commissioner of baseball from 1984 to 1989, born at Evanston, Illinois.
Ah, well, that's cool. The 1984 LA Olympics. I think that was out here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. What are you munching on, by the way?
Yeah, I apologize for the noise.
Oh no, it's making me hungry.
Just some, let's see, queso Tortillas chips.
That sounds pretty good.
Yep, it's getting me by right now, but 1952, Jimmy Connors, American tennis player, 8-time Grand Slam winner, 109 titles overall, born in Belleville, Illinois.
Dude, look at his face. It's like he's so like so focused. We have Ahmed Shah Massoud, born on this date in 1953. He was an Afghan political and military leader who fought the Soviet Union and led the Northern Alliance against the Taliban, born in Bazarak, Panjshir, Afghanistan, dying in 2001. Dang.
Wow.
Yeah,
right,
that's right.
as the Afghan war was starting, he died.
Yeah. Actually,
Pretty much, right?
no, just before it. September 11th is in 9 days. So 9 days before the towers, and like I think we didn't actually invade Iraq until 2003. So it took a couple years, but we declared war on him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or actually, a war on terror. And for whatever reason, we entered Iraq, which had nothing to do with Al Qaeda or Bin Laden, but okay, you know. Anyway, oh, whoa, it's you, Scott. 1964, Keanu Reeves, Canadian actor, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, The Matrix, as well as like recently the SpongeBob movie. What else was he in? John Wick.
Excellent.
Most excellent. He's a rock bassist for Dogstar, and he was born in Beirut, Lebanon. What? Born in Beirut?
I didn't know that.
What the heck?
Oh, that's inaccurate.
It is?
He was born 1564.
1564? Oh, yeah, that's right. I know exactly what you're talking about. That old painting with Keanu. Like, yeah, he's immortal. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm also immortal then.
I know.
But yeah,
I
can't believe he's born in Lebanon.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Born in Beirut, Lebanon. He's a Canadian. And he is, like, just breathtaking. You know? You all are breathtaking. Now, please leave. I need to breathe. I can't. I'm suffocating.
They had another good one in 1956. Tony Alva, American skateboarder.
Where? 1956?
1957.
67?
57.
57. Go for it.
Yeah, 1957. Tony Alva, American skateboarder.
I don't know who that is.
Me either.
He was one of the people they made a movie about, Lords of Dogtown.
Oh.
Yeah, but I feel like people get confused on what type of skateboard that is, because if you know, they have very different skateboards going through time, right?
This is the Z-Boys, pretty much.
Oh. Interesting.
He
It's
made a whole
kinda-
movie about them.
Oh, this is the old type of skateboard where they just slapped a surfboard onto a couple of trucks.
That's
Yep.
what I thought.
I see.
That's exactly what
That's
I
it.
thought. Yep.
That's the start of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it right here. Anyway, Scott, it's your turn.
What?
It's your turn.
1965, Lennox Lewis, British-Canadian boxer of the Olympic gold super heavyweight 1988, undisputed world heavyweight champion of 1999, born in London, England.
One of the few
So-
people to beat Mike Tyson.
Mm.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. Right.
Yes, I saw somebody quote Mike Tyson earlier today in
No.
Discord.
He was like the second guy. I think Buster Douglas was the first guy.
Yes.
Breathe.
I got some chips stuck on my throat.
Don't die on camera. That's bad for ratings. I don't
I'm
think
trying
rating
to
it
talk,
any
and I
better.
got stuff in my throat.
Actually, that is good for ratings.
Sohan, while Scott's busy dying, can you take 1966 here?
With pleasure. 1966, Selma Hayek, a Mexican-American actress, Desperado Frida, born in Tlaxcala, Mexico.
Ah.
I'm alive.
Oh God, he's there.
See who else?
Anyway,
Well, kind of ironically, we're moving on into the death section now. And Scott, why don't you start us off? Take the first two.
all right. As I'm alive and well. 1490 BC. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Phidippethes, Greek hero and inspiration for the modern marathon after he ran from Marathon to Athens to announce Greek victory in the Battle of Marathon, dies at around 40.
Yeah, this guy, he as I'm gonna say legend. I'm not sure. This might be the fact. As it says here, this is how the marathon, started. Like he ran from Marathon to Athens. Just went because like there was some battle
Yep.
going on and such. I think with the Peloponnesians or maybe with the what are the other people? The Xerxes people. Like what are they? The Persians. Something. But he got there and he's like Nike, which means victory. And then he just dropped dead.
That's
So-
unfortunate.
Yeah. Actually, let me see here. It dies September 2nd, 490 B. Oh, yeah, well, we're in deaths. So, yeah. Yeah, here we
Yep.
go. He is said to have run from Marathon to Athens in under 36 hours to deliver news of a military victory against the Persians. It was the Persians. Legend has it that Philadelphus, upon reaching Athens with the news, then collapsed and died right there. So, yeah, as I said. So, yep.
And I was gonna say we're making a big jump, but we got Ho Chi Minh again.
Oh, here we go.
Just saying.
Go for it.
1969, Ho Chi Minh or Nguyen Sinh Chun or Kun, whatever, Vietnamese communist, revolutionary, and president of North Vietnam from 1956 to 1969, dies at 79 of heart failure. And you're right, he was North Vietnam. My bad.
Yep.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Because I know he was the first president of Vietnam, and then that's when they became communist, and then, then the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Well, yeah, that reminds me, you were talking about his name being on the South Vietnam medals. That would make sense because at one point that was under his control. So they probably hadn't replaced those medals and were just using those.
Ah,
Sohan, wow.
I'll have to show you later then.
Yeah.
1973, J.R.R. Tolkien, British author, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, dies of an ulcer at 81.
Wow, of an ulcer. Really?
Yeah. I mean,
That's unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, this man created an entire world, so I mean, the stress is immeasurable.
Yeah, I was gonna say he must have suffered because if you die from an ulcer, I didn't even know you can die from that. I mean, I guess it's just
He
his
can.
advanced age.
Yeah. Well, what age was he anyway? 81.
81.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
And you have one more, Mr. Sohen.
2001.
Sohen.
Christian Stannard, African cardiac surgeon who performed the first heart transplant, dies of severe asthma attack.
Dang.
Really? So he got a heart transplant and died from his breathing?
No, he performed.
He performed the first heart transplant.
I see it. My bad. Yeah.
Now,
Darn.
here's
no,
the thing.
seriously.
Here's the thing. I do remember talking about the first successful heart transplant. This just says the first heart transplant. So this doesn't necessarily mean successful because there are, that's two different things. But that's still pretty cool. He's paving the way,
Yeah, and it's like I'm thinking the body has to like accept that new heart, so it's a crazy experience.
Yeah, you gotta go by blood type, heart size, like stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that is unfortunate that Christian Bernard died of an asthma attack at 78. I wish somebody helped him.
Yeah.
Ooh, I want this one.
Go for it.
2005, Bob Denver, American actor, Gilligan's Island, The Many Loves of Darby Gills, dies of complications from treatment for cancer at 70.
Dun 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 a 3-hour tour. That brings back memories.
Yep. Gilligan died 2005.
Yep. And that concludes the show. Once again, you can check the underbar, the description for links that you may find interesting, including but not limited to Everything Omni Coalition as well.
Sohin TV on Twitch.
Yep. For all of you and all of us, we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific time.
12 Central.
1 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
Sorry, go on.
12 Central and 1 p.m. Eastern time. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
I am Scott is not a bot.
I'm the troublemaker.
You are a troublemaker. And you, viewer, of course, are you. And until you catch us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.